This is our first week to have spelling homework. Let's go through and talk about why we have spelling homework and where we will find it. We want to provide opportunities to teach and practice two areas of needed spelling. One area of need we see is that there are some words that people commonly misspell, commonly use words that kids often misspell. Some of these words just need to be memorized because they come up often enough. It's worth it to memorize them. Then we have a second area of need, which we want to teach you commonly used spelling patterns that are important to know. If you understand and learn these patterns, you will be better able to spell forever. Because we notice these two areas of need, our spelling homework has two parts. It says, for this reason, you can expect every spelling list to have two parts, the high frequency words to study part and the pattern words to study. Here you can see, here is the high frequency words to study, and there's 5 words there that are words kids often misspell. We want you to practice them, memorize them. And then you can see the second part, which is pattern words to study. These words all follow a similar pattern. And on top here you will see that I will have typed an explanation of the pattern. Often it's a sound that is spelled 2 different ways, or a sound that is spelled 3 different ways. Now let's talk about where you will find your spelling words and where you will find your directions. The spelling words you will staple into your planners on the week. So if it's the week of September 30th, you'll staple them into September 30th week. If it's the week of November 4th, you'll staple them in there so you can easily find them when you're home, or if you're in the classroom, you'll easily find them there. It says here you will see the spelling words of the week stapled in planners on Monday. If your child is absent, they're expected to get the sheet and staple it in their planner when they return. And I'll show you where they will be. It says, students are expected to practice their words every night and record their spelling practice in their take-home folder. Lined notebook paper has been inserted into this folder so all homework can be easily located. It would be helpful to label the work with the day of the week. So where do you find the words? They're in your planner. Where do you do your spelling homework? In your take-home folder. I have inserted lined paper there for you to use so that you will always have paper for you. You bring your red take-home folder to school, you bring your red take-home folder home, you have that paper. If on some day of the week I asked to see your spelling homework, you would just open up your red folder and say, here it is, this is what I did this week. If in the future you run out of paper, you have a paper drawer, you can go get more. Now let's talk about how you will study your spelling words. Most of these are ways of studying spelling you've done before. First one says you could write your words 3 times each or 5 times each. Second one says to write the words and draw a picture. Third one says to write sentences. For the spelling homework that is the high frequency words to study, we recommend you writing those 3 times each and in sentences. To write the words in sentences would look something like this, where you write a sentence, you include the high frequency word from the list, and you underline it. Another option, which some people might like to do every now and then, is this one right here called rainbow spelling. It says writing the words with alternating colors or zebra spelling with just 2 colors. I prefer just zebra spelling, and let me show you an example. Here you can see an example of zebra spelling. It allows you to practice writing the word 3 times each, but with different colors. Sometimes that helps you to practice it in a different way. At the bottom it says, for the words from the pattern of the week, there is a different recommended practice. For the words from the pattern of the week, there is a different recommended practice. It's called a sort. Here you can see the pattern words to study for a given week. See that it gives you some words at the bottom, and at the top it tells you the pattern of the week. In this case, the long O sound, like the sound in the word boat. And then you see that there's 2 bullets there, which indicates that there's 2 ways of making the long O sound that we're learning. Since there are 2 ways to create the long O sound that we're studying, you would create a chart that has 2 columns. If it were a week where there are 3 ways to make a given sound, then you would create 3 columns. These words that you see by the bullet would become the heading of your column. Here, let me show you. You see how I have made long O spelled with OA, the top of one column, and long O spelled with O consonant E, the top of the other column. The reason that we highly recommend doing a sort is as you're writing down the words in these columns, you're telling your brain, okay, I'm learning. There are 2 ways to make this sound. There are 2 ways to make this sound so that you can learn how to spell that pattern for this week and in the future. In addition to the sort, we recommend a word hunt challenge, which means that you try to think of other words that follow that same pattern. And usually I recommend doing that in color. So here you can see a word hunt challenge means that, and here you can see some examples from previous years. The sort was done at the top, and at the bottom you can see that they added other words they could think of that followed that same pattern. And same here, that they found other words that followed that same pattern. And this is powerful work because it helps you to think about the pattern so that you can learn it and use it as you go on in your spelling life. From today on, you are going to have spelling homework on a daily basis. Let's remember that each week you'll have a list stapled in your planner. You also have these expectations and directions of how to do spelling homework stapled at the front of your planner. Each list has 2 parts, high frequency words and words that follow a certain sound pattern. At the bottom of this list there are several different ways that you can study. It's up to you how you study, but by Friday you need to be ready for a spelling test that includes both the high frequency words and the pattern words. You would be prepared to spell the high frequency words to study words, you'd be prepared to spell them correctly, and you would be prepared to spell these correctly as well, and to understand the pattern.